Alright, hi everybody, this is Sam, and we're here for our 10th video in the chess philosophy series. So we'll be playing another climbing the rating ladder game, and in this game my main objective is to not blunder a pawn for no reason. And my second objective is to try to get my opponent to blunder a pawn. Let's see if we can do that. Because I have been blundering pawns left and right in these videos. Haven't been doing the swellest job of not blundering. I've been playing decent chess, just haven't been very decent at not blundering, which is the whole idea of my series. And I also made sure that the game is rated, because my last two games weren't rated, I guess. Alright, so they played the Dutch. Interesting. So we're playing a Dutch. But I think you can actually play the London or the Jobava against the Dutch. So I might try to do that. Alright, so they go there, B6, allowing their bishop to fianchetto. They're controlling A5 and C5. I think now is a good time to play E3 to allow my bishop to come out. They bring their knight out. I could play C4, which is probably a good move here, but I'm not. Well, yeah, C4 is probably a good move. Probably want to get my C pawn employed. I know you can play the Jobava London against the Dutch, but it's a little wonky. So I'm going to employ my C pawn here, gain some space before I bring my queenside knight out. Check me with their bishop, get ready to castle. I was thinking just knight c3 here because it is already protected by my pawn. It can be protected further by my queen and rook later. It's probably the best move. I'm not worried about them doubling my pawns necessarily. Am I? If they take my pawns, do I care? If they take my knight and double my pawns, do I care? Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. I'm going to bring my knight here because there's nothing wrong with it, and there might be something a little wrong with allowing them to double my pawns. I'll have to explain after the game because this person is moving very quickly. As Blitzstream 777 Ibo, as their name would suggest, they're going to move fast. But I didn't necessarily like the double pawns in that situation because I felt like they could potentially get fixed. Double pawns are good if they can move or if they're providing useful roles, but if they're stuck, not so useful, oftentimes you kind of want to avoid them. So that's why I went with this move. And it's got them to think a small amount. So they castle, their king is safe, their majors are a little bit connected so far on the king side. Now I think I'll just develop my bishop here. I should move a little bit fast because I've been moving very slow in my past few games and I've been getting into time trouble. So if my move is not critical, I want to move slightly fast here. Sometimes you don't have to agonize over moves that are all roughly equal in evaluation and roughly equal in your personal evaluation of them as well. Probably I think that maybe objectively knight c3 could be slightly better, but there's also possibility it could be worse. Alright, so they play d6, which is controlling e5. So I think that they are playing very solidly, but now I think I can go and try to get their bishop pair. I'm going to attack their bishop and get them to take my knight. So now I'll have two bishops. And I think I should probably take with the queen. Could take with the knight, but I think taking with the queen is fine. Now my queen is developed. And I have two bishops. So I'm starting to like my position. The Dutch is the Dutch is a dangerous opening to face, but you shouldn't be scared of it because it's slightly dubious. It's not like an opening that you shouldn't you shouldn't play by any means, but it's just a slightly offbeat opening. You're basically weakening Black's king side, so that's why it's not the best opening of all time. So I like my position. They play a5, gaining space. They could play a4 in the future, but I don't know that I'm scared of that. So I think I'm actually just going to castle here, connecting my major pieces and getting my king to safety. And now I think next I'll play b4, getting a large amount of space and preventing them from playing a4 outright to stop me from playing b4, because they could take en passant. So I'm liking my position, and it's good when you like your position, because it's like, I'll consider like chess like a fight. If you're in a real fight and you're liking your position, you're going to be just a little bit more, capable. You're going to be firing on more cylinders, as long as you don't get cocky. Queen e8. This is, I think, a pretty common move in the Dutch, kind of like the French, where they kind of want to swing over to the king side with queen h5 or queen g6. But there's nothing intense yet. So I think I may go with my plan, or I might actually make a flight square for my king and bishop here, because it looks like a good quiet moment for me to do that. Just make a flight square for my queen, my king and my bishop, because I never want to have to worry about if knight h5 is irritating. I don't want to have to calculate if that's going to lose my bishop pair that I got by some means. Alright, so they bring their other knight out. Makes logical sense. Hi, sweetie. So I think now I'll play b4 and gain a lot of space over there, because I do have two bishops and I have some space. So this is something I can work with. Like, as a positional player, this is what gets my, my blood pumping. This is what gets my gears turning, as much as like a attacking player, when they start to envision all these, sacrifices and dynamics against their opponent's king, where they want to checkmate them. When I see a position like this, where I have space and I have two bishops, I actually start to get excited about winning the game, because that's starting to be enough for me to fantasize about winning the game. All right, e5, gaining space, attacking my bishop. I don't think I should necessarily take the pawn, because I'm the one. I could take the pawn, though, because I have two bishops. I could take the pawn and open the position up. So there's that. So there's like a philosophical question here. I have two bishops. Should I open up the position, or should I keep my central space? I kind of like space over dynamics because I'm a positional guy. So I'm going to keep my space here. I think there's something to be said for either decision, taking the pawn or backing your bishop up. I'm sure the computer will say that they're roughly equal. But I like my decision because I like space. Now this does allow them to play e4, but I'm not very scared of e4. It gains space with a tempo on my knight, but then it kind of, you know, their activity is kind of shut down, if you know what I'm saying. Like my knight will have to jump away, but then there's a massive hole on f4 on that square. There's not quite a hole because I guess they can play g5, and you know, maybe that's their intention, but that comes with risks for their king. If they're going to attack me with pawns, it's opening up their own king. So my point being, I'm not very scared of e4, although it's possible it's the best move, and it's possible it was their intention. And I'm really not scared of e takes d4 because that just kind of trades off their good e pawn for my not quite as good e pawn. You see, their e pawn is further advanced than mine. So the further I look, it's possible in a long game I may have taken the pawn just to not allow them to get some space and push my knight back. But I don't think it's bad. I think it's just going to be a different type of position if we get it. It's going to be more closed. It's going to be a little bit more imbalanced and everything. But they can't play e4 now because they play knight e4. And I was thinking in this case probably I could play queen b7 because they have no dark square bishop to harass me, and that just looks like a really good square for my queen. It's kind of probing their king side, keeping an eye in the center. It's really safe, and again, they have no dark square bishop, so I'm not wary of any dark square attacks on my queen necessarily yet. All right, so they take. I'm thinking I should take with the pawn just to keep my center. Keep all my pawns intact. They're probably going to take my rook. And the position is clarifying. The position is getting more and more clear on what kind of battleground we're going to get. So I have control of the A file. I have space on the queen side. I have a small lead in development because right now they have their bishop on the queen side not developed. I have two pieces, but they do have some kind of attack on my king. Now I'm wondering here if I should take on I think I should take on e5 because I have two bishops and I want to open up the position. Yeah, I think that's a good move. Because if they take with their knight, that's not that good for them because then my knight can hop into d4. So I think I'm going to take this pawn here, give my knight some extra options, and open up the position because I have two bishops. When you have two bishops, they control a lot of space and a lot of territory, and they operate best when they can have a lot of open lines to move on. So they attack my knight and my pawn, which I saw this move. And this is an industrious move. More than likely, I should probably move my knight. I don't think it's. I don't think I should get cute by playing like anything else. But probably. Let's see here. Yeah, I have to be a little bit careful because if I play h takes g4, f takes g4, and then move my knight away, their idea is that f2 is attacked by their knight and their rook. So that's why I say I should move my knight away to leave my king as protected as possible. And I'm currently up a pawn because I took a pawn and then they counterattacked. They'll almost certainly win the pawn back here. But I think I should move my knight. Now, should I go forward? I should probably attack their knight with my knight, right? So Fisher said if a piece is in your house, attack that piece. And that makes sense. Like if that knight is in your, if you're in your camp, the first thing you want to do to an enemy that's in your camp is attack them. So knight d2, attacking their knight. You know, then if they play like g takes h3, then I can play knight takes e4. Get, you know, snap that knight off. And that looks kind of cool. Now am I getting checkmated? So let's see. H takes. I gotta calculate fast here because I'm running low on time. H takes g4. F takes g4. Or sorry, let's see. Knight d2. I was calculating the wrong line. Knight d2. G takes h3. Knight takes e4. And then, you know, they could play like queen to g6, threatening checkmate, but then I could jump my knight into g3. So, knight d2, knight takes d2, queen takes d2, g takes h3, g takes h3, and I'm fairly safe there. And, you know, their knight's kind of irritating me, so this looks like a good move. I think I'm gonna play it. I don't see anything too wrong with it. They've got a knight, a pawn, a rook, and potentially more aiming at my king. But I'm not super scared yet because my rook can come to assist if he wants. And I have 2 bishops and 4 pawns protecting my king. So they've got an interesting attack going. And this is how oftentimes the Dutch players play. Dutch players like to attack the white king. That's kind of the point of employing the f-pawn. You get, you know, kind of a preemptive pawn storm. So they're very tough, gritty, aggressive players. What did I tell you? I mean, geez, these moves are very creative. But that just loses a pawn, though, right? I mean, doesn't that just outright lose a pawn? So knight takes d4, but that's very creative. In a blitz game, I'd like lose on time here. Knight takes e4. G takes h2. King takes h2. And then my knight is still there, so f takes e4. And then king to g. Well, shit, let's see. King to g1. And, how's my position looking there? It's hard to, okay, so knight takes. Let's see here. Should I do that? Or let me go. I might play f takes because that's probably better. Like, that's a creative move by them, but I don't think it's that good. And I think, and if I think I take this pawn like this, I think I'm just up a pawn. So, I mean, creative move, but, you know, sometimes when you sacrifice pawns, you don't get them back and you don't checkmate the king. And that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping my defense is better than their really creative attack. This is interesting. I love this play. Because I took a pawn, they counterattacked, I jumped away, and they counterattacked again. So very creative attack, but I'm up a pawn. The position is a mess. I've got, you know, pawns hanging everywhere, so they take my knight, no choice but to take, right? right? No other good move, I don't think. That'd be probably stupid. Okay, so I'm up a pawn. Up 2 pawns if they don't take a pawn here. And my pawns are ridiculous, but I have 2 bishops. So knight takes. But they're not threatening anything. Okay. But my bishop is kind of buried. So it's either point. What should I do here? Should I put my rook on A2 or A7? I should probably put my rook on A7. Attack that pawn. Put your rooks, that's called a pig, on the 7th. It's going to munch everything on the 7th rank. And I saw that if they played queen C6 defending, I have the option of playing queen D5 trading queens. Hi, sweetheart. My position is very complex. What do you think about this position? They've got an attack on my king side. I have an extra pawn. I have 2 bishops, but my pawn structure is not very good. And they have way more time than I do. So that's my dilemma. But this is why we love chess. Because essentially, it's his will against mine. Or their will against mine. Right? Alright, so I'm getting them to use a little bit of time, which is good, because I want some time to breathe. Whew! When these players play good and fast, it stresses me out, because then my time is just low, you know, getting lower and lower. And I start to get stressed out and, you know, make bad moves. So I want some time to breathe, sit here and think on their time, think about what I want to do. So that defends the pawn. Okay. Now, and it kind of attacks my pawn a little bit. So what I think I might do is watch out for any forks from the knight and try to defend that pawn. And like not get checkmated. The good thing is I have a lot of pawns and I have 2 bishops around my king, so I think my position is fairly safe. So I go here, protecting the pawn. I really want to avoid any knight forks, because, you know, I was tempted to play queen D4, but that just, you know, you get hit with a real gross fork with knight C6 hitting the rook and the queen. And there's knight forks everywhere. Knights are impressively tricky. They always say when there's a knight there's a way, where there's a knight there's a hope, so on and so forth. When you have a knight, never resign, things like that. So just always be careful of knights. Even though bishops are better, knights are undeniably trickier. Bishops are like the snipers, knights are like the, you know, the rogue, you know, who's drunk and shows up late, and he looks very unprofessional, but you know, he'll dance around you and then like knife you and run away or something. Like I just imagine the knights like, you know, Rock Lee when he was using his drunken fist, you know, fighting style from Naruto. That's how I imagine knights. Alright, so they go here, finally develop their bishop on move 22, which is pretty interesting, pretty humorous. Attacking my pawn though. And I thought about playing C5, which is attacking their structure, and they can't at any time even move or touch their D pawn because it's protecting their knight. So I think I'm going to go ahead and attack their structure here. I got to move fast. Like if I like a good move, and if I see a move and it's good and I see nothing wrong with it, I have to play it because my time is getting low. So they can't move their D pawn. If they move their D pawn, their knight is toast. And if they play B takes C5, I'll play B takes C5. And I'm on like Donkey Kong because I'm threatening a lot of stuff. So they go there, defending their knight. Not threatening a lot though. And now my queen can kind of get in a little bit here. My queen is getting in. I think next I can play queen to c7, threatening checkmate. They can block, and then I can take on b6, winning a second pawn, and my position should be extremely good. Oh no, I blundered! Oh, they were like, what is this idiot doing? I didn't notice that it was check. I didn't notice that their queen was aligning with my queen. Oh no. Good move. I should have seen that coming, man. Damn it. I should have moved my king away. I didn't see what their idea was. I thought they were... Well, I should have known that. Because they're protecting... I said they're protecting the knight, which now means the queen and my queen are aligned. And now there's a knight check and my queen's undefended. Oh, fuck. So I took a pawn. They check me. Oh, Lord. That's horrible. I'm losing a queen. I gotta resign. Ugh. I was enjoying this game. I'm sorry. It just... It sucks to resign a game that you wanted to play more. I was looking forward to playing this game more and winning. Oh man. Good move. So oh my god, that's hilarious. Good move. That's why I gotta watch out for checks, and you have to watch out for their ideas. I was getting very, very, very lazy there and optimistic. Played what you call hope chess. I said I'm on like Donkey Kong, and then I lose my queen. Good lord. Oh my god. But before I did that, what's the analysis, guys? +2. See, I'm winning. If I be careful, it's +2. Sad. And this is why I'm not a master. This is why I'm not close to a master. This is why I'm 400 points away. Because masters don't do crap like that very often. And if they do, it's like, you know, they're facing a grandmaster and they have like 30 seconds on the clock. But against an opponent of equal caliber, you bring your best game. You put your best foot forward and you try to like impress them and intimidate them and want them to like, you know, bring their best game. I am more than capable of seeing knight f3. And the second he played it, I knew what happened. And I've played this tactic dozens of times. I've had this tactic played on me dozens of times. I've seen this tactic like hundreds of times. So really sad move for me to miss. But I'm not that messed up about it because I'm not going to miss it. This next game, I'm not going to miss a discovered check. I guarantee you. Okay? That's like what you want to do in chess. I'm not very upset. I was laughing and like, oh my god, that was a good move. Because next game, I'm not going to miss a discovered attack. Because in this game, I was a few moves away from winning a very nice game. And I was getting ahead of myself and not paying attention to their moves. I was like, what's that move doing? It's just solidifying. So, you know, it's like, okay, so I thought, right? So I was like, usually queen moves do two things, right? So it's getting out of the pin from the rook. It's protecting their knight. So I was like, okay, it's getting out of the pin of the rook. That's defensive. It's protecting the knight. That's kind of aggressive a little bit. So now they can take my pawns because their knight's defended more. But I didn't ask what else it did. it threatened an attack on my queen. See that? It's making an X-ray. Their queen has an X-ray on my queen, which is undefended. If my queen was defended, it would not be an issue. But because it's undefended, so I take a pawn. I'm up 3 pawns, and I think I'm winning in a lot of just every variation. But boom, hit me with this check, and I'm like, oh no. Everything I do here. I thought about trying to play some moves, but there's nothing. I mean, you can take the knight, take the pawn, but then they're just gonna kill you. So very, very nice tactic there. Just, goes to show you, never give up when you're losing. Never, ever let your guard down until the game is over, the clock is stopped, the score sheets are signed. I was sitting there, singing my own praises and, resting on my laurels, as I often do in the middle of these games when I get winning positions. And then I lose hilariously. And that's just another metaphor for life, y'all. Don't count your ducks before they've hatched. All that sort of thing. I'm not even like upset that I fell for the tactic. I'm more so upset like, damn, this game was going to be really fun to pull off the win in the next, 5-10 moves, assuming that they would resign. And then I didn't get that. So it's kind of an anticlimax, but great move on them. Let's see what happened here. I think it's going to be fairly self-explanatory. I think I kind of got an advantage out of the opening. They played some very interesting chess. They played like, an amateur tall or something, sacrificing those pawns, but I don't think it was very good, as the computer shows. They gave up a couple pawns, but I was up a couple pawns on the evaluation. But it pays off with dynamics, clearly, because all the moves that led up to this position led up to the tactic that ended the game. See that? Like, my king is in a within checking range of their knight. My queen is unprotected. Their queen is aligned with my queen. Everything like that. So, good game. Let's see what happened here with the tail of the tape. Let's turn off the evaluation. So we get a Dutch. I bring my knight there, not allowing me to double. They castle. I get 2 bishops, so I like my position here. I'm sure, it's possible it's theory or theory adjacent, but I personally wouldn't give up the bishop like that, and I wouldn't personally recommend it. That's just a general principle. There's tons of openings where you give up your bishops. There's tons of positions where you give up your bishops. I'm just giving you my philosophy. I would try just another move just to try to preserve that bishop. Maybe you play d5 instead of d6 just so your bishop can back away if he wants to, and you have more space. Just an idea. I'm sure it's fine, but me being white, like, I prefer having the 2 bishops. So I'm happy to see it. So when I'm happy to see something, I would avoid doing that to an opponent in the future. Like, I would avoid doing this to an opponent. I would avoid giving up the bishop pair, because to me, I don't see any particular imbalances that black has to make up for it. I just think I have the bishop pair. Maybe the computer disagrees with me, but that's what I think. Alright, very interesting attack by them. I like their attack a lot. Because I take here, they counterattack. I try to trade knights. They smack me with a sacrifice. So here's what I was considering during the game. Here's what I wanted to try out. I was like, what if I do this? What if I take the knight, they take my bishop, I take the pawn, they take my knight, I go here. How is the position looking here? I don't know, because I don't have 2 bishops. They have all their pieces kind of looking at my king, and my king isn't very you know, safe looking, and they've got this pawn there that's cramping my king side. So looking at it right now, I'm just so glad I didn't go for this, and I'm assuming the computer's going to say this position is terrible. Let's look at what it says. -3. That's hilarious. Yeah, this position is dead lost. -4. Look at that. And you can just tell because they have a bishop, a knight, a queen, a rook, and a pawn attacking my king, and I only have this bishop, and the pawn's defending basically. So I'm gonna be dead in about 5 moves. So I'm really glad that my instincts told me not to go for that, even though it looked like, you know, a reasonable move. I actually decided to go for this. That's why you have to not just calculate one move. You have to get to a resulting position, you know, get to a tabia, which means like a position that several other positions can be reached from. So this is a tabia. Get to a tabia and decide what you think about it, right? I actually enjoyed this position. When I looked about it, like the move itself, G takes, or F takes G3 didn't look good, but the resulting position looks good. Whereas the other move, Knight takes E4, looks a little better, but the resulting tabia is not only aesthetically bad, but it's, you know, objectively and subjectively and practically and all other things lost. So good move by me. I like that because, you know, it really is a difference between being, you know, winning and losing, you know. So so let's look at the computer here. It looks like I was kind of winning through a lot of the game, even through their enterprising, nice dynamic play. But then I fell for that discovered attack, and I'm not going to fall for a discovered attack next game. Guarantee it. Because that was painful, and I've fallen for too many of those. And they're not that hard to find, guys, because all you have to look for is checks. Like, conceptually, it looks hard. Like, wow, you move a knight, you check a king, you win a queen. It is hard, but it's, you know, it only starts with one thing, which is the check. So if you look for the check, you're not going to miss it. And I didn't look for the checks. Darn it. I had 3 minutes on the clock, so I should have thought for 30 seconds or a minute there. But, so I'm winning here. I take the pawn. See, look, I'm better, winning, lost. And that's how chess goes sometimes. So I'm winning. I'll go there to trade knights like Fisher says. Boom, he hits me with this awesome sacrifice. But now I just take it. And he takes my knight. I just take. Takes with his knight. I attack his pawn. He defends. I defend and kind of menace their structure. I knew that this was possibly not the best move, but, you know, I wanted to move fast here. What's the computer like? It likes that. I like that as well. I like that as well, but, you know, you pick and you choose your moves during the game. What do you want from me, computer? Dang, but I lost a couple games in a row here. I like to go on nice streaks. See there? Went on a streak, lost, went on a streak, but now I'm on a couple losses here, so I want to bounce back if I can. But the most important thing is to have fun and play good chess moves. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the computer graph kind of bears out what I thought happened. I was winning, and then I just kind of foolishly blundered the check, the discovered check on my queen and king. So I go there attacking their structure. They set up the attack. I don't see it, and they salivate. And that is a apt assessment, computer. Boom! Hit me with the check, and I'm dead lost. I don't even want to, you know, see what happens here. I mean, I was considering, I don't even know, like this. They go here. I mean, I want to protect myself, but I want to take this pawn. So it's like, it's just hopeless. It's stupid to play on here, right? So, good move. And that goes to show you, like, you can go from here, where you're winning, very winning. Like, you know, my position is so winning, it's hard to describe, from, you know, a a standpoint of if I'm safe, there's no threats. That's what I mean. Like I don't feel threatened here, except for if I miss something, and that's why I lost. I quite feel the threat. I should have looked for checks. I'm more than capable of seeing that. You know, I'm telling you, anyone who's 1800 plus should see that in a second. And if they don't see that, they should kick themselves in the butt and say, you really should have seen that, homie. So I blundered, lost. Good game, good game. But that's why they're rated 2100. And goes to show you, I mean, you can play a really nice game for 25, 30 moves and then just losing one move. And that's what I mean, guys, about not blundering. Why not blundering is much more important than being good at chess. I'm a good chess player. I just played 25 good moves, but then I lost in one move. And so it's much more important to avoid blunders than it is to be good. Alright, I hope y'all enjoyed this. I hope y'all got something from it, and I'll be back for another video quite soon. Peace.